on, everybody? My name is Chris LePack, a.k.a. RebelPack92, joined by one Alec Bobko, a.k.a. Albob875, and today we have a very special episode for you on the Waypoint Podcast because we have not one, not two, but three brand new members joining our team, baby! I'm very excited. We're going to spend some time together just letting you guys get to know them because they haven't, a few of them have been. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start out. You've seen her already. She's been on all of our Marvel podcasts so far. The head mistress of the Marvel School for Dummies, LeighErin Jazz.
Hi.
Of course, brought on because he's a goddamn whiz. He's the #1 After Effects extraordinaire, Chance Carter.
How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Good afternoon.
And rounding out the new team, whom we haven't even announced on Twitter yet because we wanted to sneak attack you. We got you, baby. The world's biggest community fan, Bo.
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons in a movie, baby. How are y'all doing tonight? And which is a weird question to ask now because none of y'all saw this. But we've sat here for like an hour and a half to shoot the shit before we even hit record.
Really good time. Had a lot of fun. Made the right choice.
we got some drinks in us. Maybe we got into some real deep philosophical stuff. You'll never know. You know what I mean? Awesome. So I really want to get into how you guys sort of one found us, and then two, what kind of got you guys into content creation? Because part of what we do here at Waypoint is that we are a group of creators that come together to come and discuss content creation, do it ourselves, and just try and build like a really fun, positive, uplifting community where we all create and share things together. I kind of want to start with you, LeighErin, a little bit because you've been on lots of our shows and stuff, and so I know that you have the I wrote it down, the Marvel School for Dummies podcast. Like, how'd you get started in that? I already know how you found us. Jordan bugged you about it, so we'll skip that part of it.
So, I got into content creation because I went to college for theater and wanted to be an actor, and then realized that I couldn't do what I wanted to do being an actor, and I absolutely did not want the rest of my life depending on how much weight I gained or anything like that, because I just am sensitive. I can't handle that. And so I got into doing content creation where I didn't have to show my face if I didn't want to. And then on top of that, I got pulled in by Jordan, and where that came from is Jordan and I bicker about absolutely fucking everything. I love him. I feel like I need to make this very clear because I've never done it. I am obsessed with, I love him. He is my best friend. Like, we would die for each other. I swear, I know I am so mean to him. It's just how we talk to each other. But we bicker about absolutely fucking everything.
I feel like that's a sign of a best friend, right? Like you get to the point with people that you're so close to them that all you do is just shit on them all day long. Like that's
the time.
That's me and my friends. That's some of us here even.
That Black Widow breakout clip from last week was.
Yeah, like that is just me and Jordan in a nutshell. There's also a picture of two YouTubers we like. Sitting in front of a sign that says the Shrine of Friendship, and one of them is yelling at the other, and I sent it to Jordan once and went, "This is us," screaming at each other at the Shrine of Friendship. But yeah, we were streaming together just because we thought it'd be funny, because I suck at video games but love video games and want to just watch other people who are good at video games be good at video games. And I like to yell at Jordan, and so we started streaming together, and that really got me into content creation. And I love podcasts. I fucking love podcasts. And Marvel School for Dummies came about because our best friend, me and Jordan's other best friend, Victoria, loves Tom Holland, saw Spider-Man Homecoming, and could understand it having not seen anything else in the MCU. You didn't need to see you didn't need to see Civil War to understand it. And then she went with us to see Far From Home. We told her, spoilers for Endgame, but that Tony Stark had died. Just because that's all she really needed to know. And then all the information about No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness and WandaVision playing together came out, and Jordan and I went, "Oh, you're not going to understand the third movie unless you watch everything else." And yeah, and she doesn't watch a lot of movies and constantly has questions and isn't super into action movies up to this point. So we go through the plot and she asks questions as we go through the plot about things she doesn't understand. My favorite one being in the Captain America movie, she did not realize Hydra was Nazis. And so she did not understand the entire movie. When I said they're working for the Nazis, she went, "Oh, I don't have any more questions," because that then answers every other question I have written down.
I just made a joke. I know y'all just yeah, it's weird. It's weird that they're all
She was
German.
like, "What is their end game?" I was like, to be not what?
I know y'all just recorded our like Loki finale spoiler cast that I sat out on that, but Brittany and I recently finished it, and we have to do the thing right of with my in-laws, like every time we go into a movie, kind of give them a refresher of what's been going on in the MCU, you know, catch them up, and so they haven't finished WandaVision yet, like it's like they're talking about it, like eventually we'll catch up, or maybe we'll just watch the next movie, and I was like, I love what Loki has done with that show. It really set the ground. It set the groundwork for the rest of Phase 4. But then I was like, explaining what the ending of Loki is to my family is going to be like trying to teach calculus. Like it's like I'm not going to be able to do it. They're not going to understand it at all. It's like when I had to drag my mom to go see Harry Potter and tell her what happened in all of the other movies before that because she didn't retain any of it. You know, like it's going to be rough, man.
I love it. Like I think that was my favorite one, but there are other things that like she's like missed that are big things, and I'm like, where were you? Like, just what were you doing? Like, how did you like? I'm so excited for her to watch WandaVision because she just watched Endgame. I'm so amped for her to watch WandaVision because she's gonna have questions about absolutely fucking everything.
There's always the fantastic thing too, to where, you know, you're talking about characters whose like names have only been like mentioned once or whatever. Like I remember trying to talk to my in-laws about like Claw, and they're like, "Where did this guy come from?" I was like, "No, do you remember he's in Age of Ultron?" And they went, "No, I do not remember that." And I went, "You know what? That's fair."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah.
My other favorite of her question is, what's the bad guy's goal? To kill people. But why? I don't know, because they're bad guys in a superhero movie. Like, they don't really have those big of motivation. Like,
just take your lack of understanding their motivation as a good thing.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, that's good.
She was like, "Why does Loki want to take over Earth?" I was like, "Because he wants to rule something." She was like, "But why?" I was like, "I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know."
Just watch the pretty CG, you know?
We're watching the same movie, Mom. God damn it.
I don't know. Now, Chance, I also want to ask you, of course, I mentioned earlier, just After Effects Whiz, he's made our really, really cool animated intro that you saw at the beginning of this, as well as many other things for lots of us. He's done all like my animation work for Rumble Pack 92 even, but I mean, that's not even all you do. You're a Twitch streamer as well.
Yeah, so I Twitch on It's Perchance with my wife mostly. She has no idea anything nerd ever, and so our marriage has entirely consisted of me teaching her things. So
that's fun.
Yeah, so like my sister-in-law is going to school right now. She's like 23, about to graduate, and she is going to be I don't know like the technical term, but she wants to be a special effects artist because of like the MCU and stuff, like us rewatching through them. So Mass Effect came out, been streaming that with my wife, but After Effects is like a whole separate thing of like, oh, I want to be a part of something, but I don't like being on camera. What can I do? I'm really good at clicking shit and banging my head against a wall, so I'm going to choose After Effects.
You know what? I really like hating myself.
You know. I mean, I like the Dark Souls games, the Bloodborne games. Give me all of the self-loathing I can handle. Come on now.
Hey, you got Elden Ring next year.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hate myself again with a new From Software game.
Over George R.R. Martin not publishing the next fucking Game of Thrones book and writing this goddamn game. I'm so mad about it.
What if it's in Elden Ring? It's like you pick up a book in Skyrim, only it's the entirety of the next like Fire and Ice book.
That would be the most baller thing I have ever seen.
And that's why he gets the credit. Because the last book is in the game.
He didn't actually do anything else. He didn't do anything else in the game. He just put Game of Thrones into Elden Ring.
I will be so mad. I will be so mad. I've been
God.
joking with my wife that this game hasn't come out for so many years because that son of a bitch has been attached to it. And then he comes out and is like, I haven't worked on it in a year. And I call, that's a lie. That is a lie, George.
That's so funny.
I
I
don't
mean,
believe
it's so
you.
slow.
That's fucking awesome. And of course, to round out the thing, Bo, of course, I know you have a community podcast as well. That's unfortunately like the only thing I'm familiar. Do you do anything else outside of the podcast, like content wise?
Not really. I kind of I started with content in college okay, so funny. The person that I'm on the Save Greendale, or the community podcast that I'm on,
Save
we
Greendale.
met in college. Yeah, Save Greendale committee. Started talking in college, and like it was kind of a joke, like the self-aware, like we're all freshmen, we're all making a joke about like, but all serious at the same time. Like we should start a podcast. We're gonna be friends forever, and blah blah. And like 5 out of the 6 people, or of the 6 people, other than me, part of that, we just don't talk to them anymore, and that's funny. But in college, my friends and I started a podcast called Loosely Defined. It's kind of dead at this point. It's kind of been wrapped into SDC, and it was just us just saying random stuff and having fun. Like a lot of the time, we wouldn't have the Kevin like voice of God type situation. We would just have our friend just sitting in the corner of our bedroom in college as the barometer for like, is this funny at all? Is this worth saying anything? Is this? And then I wrote game reviews. I reviewed Horizon Zero Dawn and then got this tattoo because I loved it so much. And then from there, it was just I heard the noise and I'm sad that I missed it.
The look of terror on her face.
Cats falling are the epitome of internet content, so this is going to be a banger.
Well, the problem
Absolutely.
is Cleo's tail is really short. She was born with like a 4-inch tail, so she can't turn over. She doesn't always land on her feet.
She's the exception to the rule.
She just full sent it shoulder first into the ground. Is that what happened?
Honestly, that's what I do when I play.
I had no idea it was the tail that.
Yeah,
That does
the
that.
tail
That's
helps them
the
turn,
steering.
and she can't do it. And so
Rudder.
she's also not good at jumping because she doesn't have that balance. So sometimes she misses, but this time I actually hit her.
That's fabulous. I love that so much. Oh my
Poor
god.
cat.
Wouldn't be a
That
Waypoint
poor-
podcast without some
That poor
animals.
child. I know, yeah. That's how we know it's a good one. The moment like somebody's pet fucks some shit up, like that's where like, all right, this is the one that's gonna blow up for sure.
I am so sorry, Bo. I am so sorry.
No, listen, cats are more important. At the end of the day, anything full sending into anything takes priority. Intensity makes a good show. That's what we need. Keeps it lively, keeps us
We
fresh.
do. It's drama.
Tension.
It's art.
He's hiding in the closet now.
So you said you
Yeah,
review
just-
games, but what else? Like, sorry, continue on that line. This is all new to me.
yeah,
I've
that
been
was-
very excited to hear.
That was very short-lived. Because I went to school for journalism initially, and then spent like the first semester in journalism classes, and a lot of the vibe was like, "You're going to be the epitome of like, you're going to be at the forefront of democracy, and you are the like warriors for all things righteous." And I'm like, and then I left the journalism major, and then legit
Like, I
never
just want to
saw-
write about
I was-
video games, man.
Yeah, I was because honestly, it was like half of me being inspired by Greg Miller, and then also like I watched The Newsroom at a very formative age, and was just like, okay, I could do that. Like, started writing for the school paper in high school, and then wrote for the school paper in college for the first semester. And it was like, this is not really me.
Mhm.
Went to like the student-run independent magazine, and they said, yeah, we want to start reviewing games, and no one else raised their hand, and I was like, I feel like if I say no, then this is bad. Like a future version of me will come back in time and punch me in the face and then go back through a portal. So like I was very bad at it. I went like earlier this year. I was like kind of looking at my LinkedIn and was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had my writing on LinkedIn, and then took it the fuck down because it's so bad. It's so bad. It was so bad. But from there, kept the podcast going, and then transitioned into the Save Greendale committee. And at this point, that's pretty much it. Like I streamed past tense. It's just
He
it's
was
so
good.
stressful. Like anytime I would stream, I just became so much more appreciative of the streamers that I do follow that are like serious about this, because like it's so much stress that you can easily brush off. Oh, but you're playing video games and talking to people on the internet. Okay, sometimes you're talking to people on the internet and then you don't realize that your mic is not there. Like your mic is just
Yeah,
off.
bro.
Yep.
It's the worst,
Been
man.
there.
You're like,
Sometimes you're
I
playing
just went like
something.
20 minutes. Why didn't anyone tell me?
Like unless you are a part of a full-on, unless you're part of a Kind of Funny where you have a Kevin and a Barrett in the background, you're doing all of this shit by yourself, or you're begging a friend that is not a Barrett or a Kevin but looks up to those people and then like is trying to figure all that shit out. So like I just realized like, okay, I want to be like podcast, podcasts, like it's just, I'm not an editor. Like if it's talking, being lively, and like arguing about random nerd stuff, I can do that. But like in terms of the, the serious,
The
like
technical side.
yeah, I just get so lost and frustrated, and I'm just like, okay, well, why don't I just play the game by myself? Fuck it. Like it just, I keep devolving into that. That said, I am like trying to get back into the review sphere, or at least the analysis sphere, because I've got a lot of thoughts that I want to put into words that, I'll get the whole writer's itch at 4 a.m, or like in the middle of work, I had to send an email, and then I'm like, what if this game is like this game? And then write 500 words on it. And I'm like, okay, I'll get back to you later. I swear to God, I'll get back to you later.
Like, okay, no, hold on. I gotta focus. Yeah.
Like it's just impossible at this point to focus.
Now I know
Well, you're in the right place too.
exactly.
So.
I know you actually had we had a meeting with all 9 of us, which was awesome to see on screen.
It's so great. I took a picture. It's
Yeah.
bad, but it's great.
Exactly. But I know you had a couple ideas of content. I don't know if you would want to share some of those today.
Sure. I need to remember. I remember there were 4 or 5.
Bo
Yeah.
came out swinging.
I was like,
He had some great
We were
ideas.
like, hey, do
opportunity.
you have any ideas? And he unfurled a scroll and he was like,
Yeah.
all right.
So one of them is the history of hype,
Wet.
where
Is anybody gonna say it?
oh my God.
I'm so sorry. I touched her chest, and her chest is soaking wet.
What happened? Maybe when you tossed her up, it was like the Mario 64 painting thing, where you just went through a liquid portal
Yeah.
and popped back out wet with interdimensional lands.
I'm so sorry.
This cat needs to be a part of Waypoint. This chaotic energy has
We're
to.
adding. I'd like to formally introduce. We're adding Cleo to the cast of Waypoint Podcast.
Make it an even 10. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Get
That
her a
might be a
camera.
problem because she hates men with a burning passion.
I don't
Hey,
blame her.
join the club.
It's
You know.
diversity of thought. That's what we need.
Exactly. Right.
So the first idea that I can remember was the history of hype, where it's essentially if any Street Fighter fans, any FGC fans know about Evo Moment 34, where it's Daigo Umehara versus Justin Wong, and in Street Fighter Third Strike, and it's just the most, like, I don't think I'll ever get the same amount of chills. Like it's that.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly.
It's
peak dopamine.
I mean, like put it in perspective. There's a parry mechanic within Street Fighter, and I'm not going to go too deep into it. We're going to save this for the show because I really, really want to do this. But there's a parry mechanic in Street Fighter Third Strike, and it throws out an ultimate and parries every single hit of it, and throws an ultimate back to win like the final match, like to go into grand finals, and it's unbelievable. It's literally to put it in perspective how perfect you have to do it though. It's Chun-Li's ultimate in Third Strike is, I believe, 12 hits, and so he parried this ultimate 12 times, which has to be frame perfect. So there's literally a 0.5 second window or something to input this. It's unbelievable. Like, and so we'll get more into that later. But I mean, it's like I'm literally like I've got goosebumps thinking of just remembering it, just kind of putting it in my brain. I go, fuck, it's so good.
It's the roar of everybody in that room realizing what the fuck it's them like we'll get into it later. But
It's just
moments like that, hype moments within a game, hype moments in the game's industry in terms of announcements, in terms of like acquisitions, in terms of hardware reveals in some cases, just anything that like gets you excited as a gamer or as a nerd, things like
MCU,
that. There's also
endgame theater moment, portals.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Anything where the person recording can't keep their goddamn camera still because of the noise that is being emitted from everyone else in the goddamn room. It's that. So
Perfect.
I'm excited to
Perfect.
dive into that, explain why those things are important, or why I feel like hype is a staple to the games industry and just to nerd culture in general. Like we can get into trailer discussions and the idea of people being so excited for the trailer, like almost just as excited for the trailer as they are for the movie, because it's just that little instance of hype, that perfect,
just remember everybody's reaction to the Everyone Is Here trailer for Smash Brothers, like that sort of thing. Yeah,
exactly.
That's
Like
the
Keanu
feeling.
Reeves at E3. Like,
yeah.
Like even if you weren't a Cyberpunk fan, even if you weren't like an Xbox person, it was just like
that's fucking Keanu Reeves.
Like seeing Keanu Reeves in the game, and you're like, oh shit, they got Keanu Reeves' likeness. That's crazy. That's fucking like just screaming. And then in what was it, Saturday Salons, where essentially everyone kind of playing a character, getting as pretentious and as bougie and as like most sophisticated as possible. Salons in the Renaissance era was like this, not the hair salon you get made up or whatever. It was like a coming together of philosophers and great minds of the area and of the era. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, but with games, but with that like twist of, we don't necessarily have to mean everything we say, as long as like we can prove it almost. Like even if I didn't believe in the Pixar theory, this would be a moment where I could be like, well, if I wanted to be pretentious or whatever, I could. Not that the Pixar theory is pretentious, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
it's a little pretentious.
I honestly don't remember the other three. Those are the two that
that's fine.
off the bat.
That's cool. We'll just give them
and many
taste.
more. Stay tuned. Yeah,
exactly.
And more.
While we're teasing shows, LeighErin, I know you had a show you want to bring to the table.
Yes, I am a dork about theme parks. They are my favorite thing on the planet. Part of the reason I wanted to move to California, was because I'd be within driving distance of 3. Arguably the 3 most famous ones being Universal, Disneyland, and Knott's. And so I know a fuck ton about theme park history, and I'm writing a script right now, and we're gonna talk about theme park history and all the weird shit that went into the making of the different parks and rides and
so
all
excited
of that.
to do this one, man. I'm so stoked on this one. I love theme parks. That's gonna be such a fucking blast. Oh my God,
are you amped for the new Disney Plus series? Which of course they announced a week after I pitched this. Yeah.
Yeah, where they're like, hey, we're gonna start going into how like get into the nitty gritty of how like a bunch of the rides and exhibits are made, and I'm like, oh, just straight into my veins. Hosted by The Rock. Like, let's go.
I had a moment where I was like, is this what deja vu is? I could have sworn Aaron said something about this. Was I high when she said that? Like,
it's also just like so funny to me because there are like 3 relatively big YouTube channels, like Theme Park History, Defunctland, and Yesterworld, all that like have done extensive videos on the history of Disney, but they never talk about how wild it is. It's very documentary, and I just like, there are some like, Chris, we gotta talk about Fast and the Furious Supercharged.
Can't wait, dude. Oh my God.
Whoever has been on that ride, I just need to talk about it all the time.
It's something.
It's so
it's
weird.
something.
And like, I love it. And everything Jordan knows about theme parks, he's learned against his will. And so on some episodes, I'm gonna force him to just listen to me ramble.
I'm excited
like,
for that too.
It's great. Like, I'm amped. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Something I can't recommend while we're on the subject, or can't recommend enough while we're on the subject, is that Disney Plus actually has tons of really, really great and really well made like documentaries that go into like various facets of Disney, the company itself, that I feel like I never see like discussion about. So it's I mean, the Imagineering story was a big one, because that launched with it, and there wasn't a ton of stuff on Disney Plus when it launched anyway, outside of like Mando. So a lot of people watch Imagineering story, but I mean the Pixar story is on there, and it's fabulous. You've got A Day at Disney, where they actually like did this really really cool thing, and
One Day at Disney made
like
me
went
fucking
to
sob.
where they try to gather like cast members from all their parks who all work like various jobs and interview them about what they do and how they got there, and it's so fascinating. Like there's tons of stuff like that. There's I think it was, I don't know if it was a Disney Plus original show or not. They had one called Prop Culture,
Yeah, that was a Disney
which is
Plus original.
which is fascinating, to where this guy who's like a professional like prop hunter, he goes out and finds and curates like screen used props, who works, I don't think for, but with Disney on like putting together their archives. Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say library, but archive. They actually call it the Disney Archive of all, essentially, of like all the stuff that's ever been on screen in a Disney movie. And
That's
he
awesome.
actually like they show off a bunch of props in a ton of stuff. Like he goes out and meets other prop collectors and gets to like show through others. There's a bunch of footage like within the Disney Archives, like of how they like take care of the props and show them up and everything. They have the Black Pearl in there. Just the Black Pearl. It's just there in this big fucking warehouse, and I cried a little bit. But I mean, it's all this really really cool stuff like that. They did this cool thing where he got like the costumes that all of the kids wore in Narnia, and they're all old now, and so got them all back and showed them their costumes to them, and they got to sit there and talk about it. And that's sort of like a lot of
That's
times he'll
cool.
get with actors or people that were involved in the production of these movies too, and talk about like the history. Fascinating stuff. Nobody talks about it. I've never seen anyone talk about prop culture before, and I'm like, you guys don't know what you're missing. Like
Yeah.
Gotta
so
watch
many
it.
really really cool like documentaries on Disney Plus that I can't recommend enough.
I also highly recommend the Sweatbox. I don't know if that's on Disney Plus or not, but that's about the original story for The Emperor's New Groove, which is the most wild fucking thing I've ever heard, because it was terrible and all the music was written by Sting. And it was
My
going to be
dog's name is
Whoa, whoa,
Cisco.
whoa,
I have
whoa!
to watch this.
We gotta back up. Are you saying Emperor's New Groove is terrible?
the original version. So The
Oh.
Emperor's New Groove took 10 years to be made because they
Oh,
couldn't write a
jeez.
good script. And we're trying to do this like Prince and the Pauper storyline that like didn't work, like, and the Prince was like way meaner than Cusco is, and it was a
Cusco's already
musical.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a musical, and Sting was writing all the music, and like there are videos
That's
of
a
him
choice.
like playing out the music. It's wild. It's fucking crazy. That's great.
Boys.
Waking Up Sleeping Beauty is great if you're into animation. Um,
Real
if
quick,
you
were they trying to pull like a Phil Collins Tarzan move with
yes,
Sting?
they
Okay.
absolutely are.
Okay.
They
Okay,
absolutely
okay,
are.
that makes more
Just
sense.
gave him a bunch of peyote, put him in a room, and said, "Listen, you gotta go off. You gotta give us the greatest soundtrack of all time."
I mean,
I always think
Tarzan
of
is so
that
good.
of that image of
Yeah.
that dude on like sitting on a beach playing a piano
Yep.
that's on fire.
Mhm.
Like that was just Phil Collins recording Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side note, also Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, or
Yep.
however you said that. That has way too good of a soundtrack for how shitty
it
that
really?
movie is.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
dude.
the
Oh,
Phil
for how
soundtrack
Collins
shitty
is
that
is
good.
movie is. Okay, all
amazing.
right. No, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
But I also, if you want to see a marriage end on live television and lead to a big Disney conspiracy, watch the opening day documentary about Disney, where a reporter there made out with who was married, and his wife and children were in the park, was making out with a dancer, and they cut to him before he was ready, and it was just broadcast on live television. And then it cut to Ronald Reagan before he was president, because he was a host there on opening day. Ronald Reagan didn't know what to say, panicked, and went cut to Walt Disney. Walt Disney wasn't ready, and like it came in because he wasn't ready. It came in late, and he messed up the line in his speech and like got flustered and got mad, and it birthed this conspiracy that he wasn't actually a nice guy and he was like Satan, and like it was all an act, all because this man cheated on his wife in the 1950s.
Now I don't
Which
know
also I
a
might add
better
was the
way to.
inspiration. I'm sorry,
I
go
don't
ahead.
know a
Sorry.
better way to like say that this theme park show is gonna be great. Besides that, like that is like the perfect
Yeah.
intro to like what this is gonna
Right.
be.
Yeah.
by all accounts, the opening day of Disneyland was a gigantic shit show. Like it's
Awful.
crazy. But that whole thing though too was actually the inspiration for the Howard Stark segment, like the old videos that you see in Iron Man 2,
Yeah.
Best
well.
Iron Man.
'Cause
So,
the best Iron Man movie. That is correct.
Yeah,
Um,
thank
Yes,
you.
the
I'm
best
glad to be
Iron Man
among
movie.
peers.
I will take no
I'm
questions.
amongst
It is the
I'm
best
amongst my
Iron Man
people.
movie.
You know, I'm amongst
Hey.
my
clearly
people.
outnumbered here. I'll keep my mouth shut.
That's okay. No one takes my MCU rating seriously.
Nobody takes anybody's MCU rating
No,
seriously.
yeah,
That's what's
everyone
so
goes,
great.
"What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like this movie's here and not here.
I
Like,
almost
love it.
sent mine in the Discord the other day after Alec did, and then I think you, Chris, or was it Brett?
Brett.
Yeah, I
yeah.
almost sent mine, and I texted Jordan, and I was like, "Is it passive aggressive if I send this?" And I'm like, "Get mad, get mad."
Completely
This
different.
is my
I mean,
like
I-
making people
I
mad.
literally just said
You do
roast
realize
me.
Josh is in this group, right?
Yeah,
There's
but
nothing you could possibly say.
the bottom 3 on my list are the 3 Captain
Captain
America movies.
All
I
right, that is
can't
some
stand
horseshit.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but yeah, no, Chris, have you ever watched the Epcot film back to back with that Howard Stark Iron Man 2 scene? Because it's
Damn near.
if you
near
want to
perfect.
if you want to see something crazy, watch the Epcot film, which was where Disney was announcing the original plans for Epcot. And then watch that Howard Stark scene, and it's uncanny. Like,
Yeah.
and the whole World's Fair connection in like Iron Man and them having
Mhm.
those big festivals is like a complete pull from Walt Disney. He loved the
Mhm.
World's Fair. Like,
That was the inspiration
great.
for Epcot. Of course, we'll get into
Yeah.
this more. But it's already started. This is just the first
Yeah.
episode. To circle around a little bit, Chance. How did you get into like After Effects and that sort of thing? We talked on the streaming and that sort of thing. Was that just something that sort of like interested you, or was it just the self-loathing where like, you know what I want to do is frustrate myself all the time?
So, much like most of us here, I've had some failed endeavors in the YouTube space, right? And so, um, at a previous job, I worked in communications. I had a coworker who introduced me to podcasts. It was something that weird pull, but leading up to Halo 3, Bungie was putting out podcasts super irregularly,
Mhm.
and I listened to these things like they were the Holy Bible.
Absolutely.
You know exactly what I'm talking about,
I
Chris,
listen
right?
to them too, dude. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about,
I
man.
remember Luke Smith being an intern and talking about how OP the carbine was during the E3 beta
Yeah.
or the Halo 3 beta. So I had a coworker introduce me to podcasts, really liked them, wasn't super huge on being on camera. So had a couple buddies, started a channel, and they just wanted to show up and record stuff. And I was like, that's perfect. And just kind of fell into being the editor and the dude behind the camera. And then the more I did that, the more I realized like I'm not really great at telling jokes. Like I have like one joke like a year. I'm like, that was the one. That was my quota. That's it. But it just kind of like started out as in Premiere, and then listening to specifically Nick Scarpino, we all like Kind of Funny here, right? And just listening to him talk about like how valuable a person with After Effects knowledge is, and just like really taking that to heart. And it's not been like the easiest road. I've fallen away from it every once in a while, but it's just I don't know how else to describe it besides like a cruel mistress. Like I started in After Effects, and then if anybody knows who Blotter Media is, or Afir Shahom is, I think how you say his name, I started like trying that style, which is literally hand animating. Like it's just I like hard shit for some reason. It just gives me an excuse when it comes out mediocre, like why it came out mediocre. But yeah, that's kind of like how that whole thing started. And then I don't know. I highly recommend if anybody has like anything they want to learn, YouTube is like there. Like I've learned everything that I can possibly imagine on YouTube for After Effects.
Everything I've learned about video editing, I've learned from YouTube. Dude.
Same.
Like
Well,
100%.
absolutely.
Streaming, all of it. All of it is just YouTube tutorials. Somebody smarter than me made it first, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But no, I mean, it is something that I've like become passionate about, and I'm realizing it's, there's the theory that the better you get at something, the more like hesitant you are to say that you're good at something. And so like I've hit the point where like I'm at rock bottom. Like I understand how little I know, and like understand how much I still have left to learn. But like it's just something I really like. I was showing
Hell
you
yeah.
guys a project I was working on earlier. I've already spent way too many hours on that, but it's just like, why not?
It was sick too.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
If you
Thank you.
haven't,
Appreciate
go follow our boy on TikTok as well, where he posts lots and lots of those
it. Yeah.
those animation stuff. I think the first one that I saw, because we connected on Twitter like a
Oh, yeah.
year-ish ago now, and we were just kind of bullshit. I think we were just video games and shit. And then he goes one day and posts this video of this kid that got big on TikTok that he'd animated
Mhm.
over the top of if y'all remember the Scooter God.
Yep.
And Chase did this really cool. What's the term for the kind of animation it was? It's like roto something, isn't it?
Yeah, I used to call it roto brush, but come to find out that's not what like everybody else calls it. I think it's just hand animating. It's just using the brush tool and animating frame by frame. But I used to call it roto brush, and then Nick Scarpino corrected me and was like, "That is not what roto brush is." So
Hey, so whatever the hell it's called,
yeah,
fucking awesome. And I saw that and I
Thank
went,
you.
Mhm.
oh shit, he's really good.
And
I was
then-
like, oh my god.
The one I kind of remember you blowing up over was doing it over Blessing's dance video.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, I watched that thing and I'm like, "Ooh, I should re-put this out. I should reanimate this." It's not. Those
But
ones
tell
were
Blessing
definitely.
to dance again, and then you can animate over that one.
Dude,
Yeah.
I've hit him up on Twitter like 3 times, like, please just put something out so I can get some traction.
Give me something, baby.
I got really into like animated. I'm really into UFC, being like a super pacifist
Oh, yeah.
person. I never find that like not funny, but
Ooh.
I have to like humble brag a little bit. I put out a video about a year ago. It was of Cody Nobrandt with like the knockout of the year last year, right? And animated it and just forgot to check. It has 43,000 views on YouTube out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
What? Wow.
Hot
Yeah.
damn, dude.
Most successful, and it was like a year after I put it out. Anyway, I digest. I'm being too braggadocious.
No, yeah, I mean, by all means, flex, dude.
Exactly.
One
all
thing
means.
I do feel like I should just throw out there because I feel like everybody's seen it is I did make the McGonagall and the Watto in reviews. You've seen those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, are
Yeah.
you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to tell you something that is the most embarrassing thing I am about to say.
No, go ahead.
So you people are gonna learn very quickly. I don't give a fuck, and like nothing's really a secret in my life. I moved out here during the pandemic and was literally alone in this apartment for 9 months and like did not see anybody else except when I went to the grocery store, had no like human contact. And my medication, my anxiety and depression medication wasn't right. Like I needed the dosage changed. And in the process of doing that, I literally have so many texts to Jordan being like, I'm literally just high watching the McGonagall cuts and the Watto cuts because they are literally all that makes serotonin in my brain at this point. Is those 2 videos and Kind of Funny playing Fall Guys. That's literally the only things I have the mental capability. I watch them all the time.
Thank you
There's
so
a
much.
playlist I have that is just those videos for when I'm sad.
I love it so much. Thank you. I made those. I was like, is anybody gonna even care? And of course,
I'm
Thank you.
obsessed with them. I reference them all. I'm shocked Jordan didn't tell me because I talk about it all the time.
it's not something that I like talk about a whole lot. Like I have to drop it every once in a while.
I truly like am obsessed. Like Jordan and I, one of the last things we did before I moved was sit in his room, high as fuck, peeing our pants laughing watching these fucking videos. Like couldn't breathe, die. We quote them to each other all the time. Like all the time.
Well, thank
And
you.
the little caption.
Yeah, that took so damn long. That was the
Yeah.
longest part of the video was the damn subtitles.
Yeah, oh my
Oh.
god, I know.
And the amount of people that were like, he
Somebody-
didn't say this, he said that. And I was like, look, dude, I listened to it 50 times. And that's all I could come up with, so that's what I put. Like, you want to try to like translate a man who's talking under a mask 4 feet away from a microphone? Be my guest.
Yeah, he was not mic'd for any of the
No.
Wattos.
No.
That's what's
No.
incredible. You can hear him because he shouts so damn loud.
Yeah,
Don't be good at the pumpkin. Like I fucking love it, man.
I have
What's
to tell
funny
my
is
wife. Go
I
ahead.
think I met you like shortly either before or after that you done like the Watto one.
I think it was
And
right before I did the Watto one.
I think it was right before you did the Watto, but when he says that he doesn't talk about it like at all, like he really doesn't fucking talk about it. And so the point where I watched it, I'd seen it and I was like, "Ah, it was really funny. I like that. Greg Miller's funny." And then I went back and I showed it to my wife and I see at the end that it was like we were leaving like the YouTube channel and I was about to click away. I see like the dirty double C, and I went, hold hold on, that's not. And I went back like into our DMs. And I was like, "Fucking Chance made that." I was like losing my mind. I couldn't believe it.
Thank you. Yeah, I
I mean,
just drop stuff and walk away.
you can search for gifs on Twitter. Like if you search Watto on Twitter, you'll see gifs of Chance's video
Yeah.
like all throughout that. It's crazy.
That is like the weirdest thing. Like DJ Kento or somebody like will use clips of like community shit and just like my stuff's in there. And I'm like, oh yeah, that did look familiar.
I know that clip.
Laughs and Watto. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the laughs in Watto I see a lot.
Yeah.
Like even on unrelated, I've seen people use it on Reddit. Like it's fucking
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
That's funny.
Like in like completely unrelated like subs and stuff, and I was like, do they know? Like, or did they just find funny Watto gif? Like,
On a side note, I cannot wait for them to all be in the same room again, so I have something to edit
Oh
on.
my
like...
Oh yeah.
I'm just excited to go to the party.
Oh god, dude. We're all gonna get together. Waypoint's gonna have a fucking Fast and Furious style barbecue.
Yeah.
Family all up in that bitch
Yeah.
with arachnid legs everywhere.
Arachnid blades. No, so let me tell you about this real fast. So of course, Kind of Funny recently put out the podcast talking about like when like the entire company got together, spent the weekend together, and I texted a few of you guys this too, to where I was sitting there. I was like, I was sitting there listening to the regalia, like the stories were all hilarious. There's shenanigans, all these things, but just like that sort of like camaraderie that they had together, even though they're not in the same place. And I was just sitting there. I was like, I can't wait until it's us doing this exact same thing.
Exactly.
Talking about when we all get together and some stupid shit happens, because of it will. That's just how it goes. And being able to regale people with that and relives on this podcast. I'm just sitting there. I was like, that's gonna be us someday. And sort of having it was like that same feeling when I was drunk one night watching fucking Kind of Funny do their extra live stream, and I had that sort of like epiphany. I was like, hey, I could do this. It was like that same feeling that got me to stream, where I was sitting there, I was like, that's gonna be Waypoint someday. And I had that same feeling like when we had that first meeting and I was taking photos. I was like, I can't believe that we come this far and this is what we look like, and we're just so happy to have you guys here.
I didn't want to get too sappy too quick, but I was like, I feel like I found my people. I get along with everybody in this Discord call. What the fuck? That never happens.
I'm so sorry to interrupt this sentimental moment, but I texted Jordan that Chance edited those videos and he, in all caps, went, "Oh my god, I love that. I can't believe we didn't know that." Like, he's blowing up my phone about how excited. Like, this is a huge inside joke in our friendship that it's just like kind of fucking us both up.
You guys are inflating my ego so big, you can call me Greg Miller. Like, I need a whole nother room for this thing at this point.
Chance is now like, y'all need to start paying me for appearances. $3 million for an hour, and that's
he's like, all right, if we're gonna get a message on Discord later, Chance to be like, all right, so here's my rates.
Now, Chance, before we wrap up things up, there's something you showed us during the meeting when all 9 of us were together. Do you mind sharing that with the?
I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I was waiting for this to come.
My dumbass brain just went, "What is he talking about?" Oh. My dumbass brain. It's like, I can't.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I can't.
So it's hard to see.
Oh no, I can see it.
We can see it perfectly.
It's
You
majestic.
can see it perfectly.
Oh, I love it.
So it's our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. No, I'm just kidding. It's
the Father and the Son.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna leave my camera like this the rest of the time. I'm not alone.
He's always watching over us.
He's always with me.
His scarf is the Holy Spirit. We got the whole Trinity.
Yeah,
His scarf is as much character in this direction.
That was a gift from my brother, and I told him, you could not have gotten me anything that's more up my alley. Like, that is perfect. And on it, really, I was so surprised. Somebody was like, what's that monkey in the bottom left-hand screen of your corner? And I was like, oh, That's right. It's there.
What was so great about that is that I don't even remember who asked it. But somebody was like, "What is?"
It was me and Austin.
It was
Yeah,
Austin.
okay,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, because I just remember staring at it for a long time, and I was like, does he just have like a picture of a monkey or something back there? And he goes, "Oh no, let me show you." And he like slowly pans the camera out to where we see Jeff Goldblum, and we all just start freaking out. We're like, "What the fuck is this?"
And there are 9 of us in that Discord call, so
Yeah,
Losing
Screaming.
our mind.
I was so surprised how many of you caught it. I thought it was just like super like, it's just there. But yeah, you always should expect the unexpected when it comes to this office space.
Oh my god.
Now, is it a shower curtain or is it a curtain?
It's a shower curtain with
Okay,
like
cool.
real curtains underneath it that are like nice. My wife bought for my office to match the wall. And why? When I can have Jeff Goldblum on the wall.
Put
Exactly.
Jeff Goldblum over the top of it.
This is imported silk. Okay, does it have Jeff Goldblum on it?
No, then I don't want it.
Like, this is $300. It's like, this was $20 off of Redbubble, and I'm putting it up.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if he bought it from somewhere or if he photoshopped it, but I wouldn't doubt it if... So my brother's getting his doctorate right now, and he's like 25. He's a fucking certified genius. And he just learned Photoshop one summer and then never used it again. So I can't remember if it was that from that summer or if he bought it from somewhere, but...
That's so great.
Yeah, if he created that, then yeah, I certified genius.
yeah.
There's no other way to put it.
He understands botany and how to Photoshop a correct image composition.
God.
Now, if I could
Oh
teach
my
him
Lord.
keyframes, he could just do my job for me.
Oh. I just
Ever since we've seen it, I keep telling my wife, is like, I want to buy a Jeff Goldblum shower curtain. I have to have one. I wanted to get like a Grandmaster one or something, you know, like
That would be
or
Oh,
that'd be
either
awesome.
Grandmaster or him in Jurassic Park, you know.
Yes!
if your wife is against this, I'm with her. I don't need that looking at me when I'm like about to get in the shower. I don't want that at all.
What are you talking about? That's exactly what I need
I
looking at me when I'm about to get
don't. I'm like,
naked.
ugh.
That's
Like
the
him,
move.
I feel like he's looking at me now. Like,
Yeah.
That one eye.
I think it's eyeball, honestly. It's
Hey,
following.
good night, Jeff.
I just
Oh.
can't.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about yourselves. Of course, this is not the last time you see any of them. These guys are now permanent members of our team, and so they're going to be all over the place. They've all got some really cool ideas. They're all really talented, and we're very happy to have them here, and are excited to make some kick-ass shit for you guys. Like, Waypoint's only getting better, and I love it, and I'm so happy to be here. There's so many of us here now. I'm not gonna do any of the just go follow all of us on Twitter. It'll all be down there. You know,
Down
drop a
Can I
sub
say-
if you like it.
Can I say one thing before we
You may
end?
not.
Okay.
I was gonna say the same thing.
You had enough. You know what I mean?
No lube chance. Don't fuck this up for us. We're
I
still
hit my word quota.
It's you talked enough. Go back to that. You know, that's,
Get back to your bed, you little bitch.
get back in your hole. Now what you got?
I know a bunch of us have worked in groups or been a part of things that haven't panned out because, like, let's just say the levels weren't on the same frequency, right? And just I've only been a part of this for a very short amount of time, me, Aaron, and Bo, and just like the level that is being brought is making like it just I'm so excited for what we're gonna do because it is just like feeding my whole creativity and like I have a whole new passion for it. So I just can't wait to make content with you guys. It's the fucking best.
Cool.
Oh my
Iron
gosh,
sharpens
I'm
iron, and
gonna
we're in the
cry.
crucible.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
cry, bro.
Ooh, let's go.
Damn. All right. I'm not saying anything else. We'll see you at the next waypoint. Drop us a sub or whatever. Bye. I love you.